Hi friends, welcome to Srisai IT Hub. In this video of Core Java Programming, we are going to discuss the following topic: working with exception object in Java program. Right. So first of all, let us understand what is exception. So exception means runtime error. So what is this runtime error? Error which occurs during execution time of a program. Why this error occurs? So basically we get runtime errors in a Java program when we give improper input or incorrect input while executing the program. So what happens when exception occurs? Okay. So why exceptions will occur and what happens when exception occurs? Right. So when exception occurs, our program execution stops at that particular line itself. Remaining statements or lines are not executed, and technically this is called as abnormal termination of the program or breakdown of the program. So how to avoid exception? So how to handle exception? So to handle exception, okay, we have exception handling mechanism. So in exception handling mechanism, so we use try block, next throw keyword, next catch block. So these are the three main units to work with exception handling mechanism. So when we perform exception handling mechanism, there is no abnormal termination of the program. Right. So now let us try to work with exception object. So what is exception object? Let us try to understand this. So every exception is an object. So every exception is an object in Java program. So when exception occurs, this object is created. Okay. So this object is automatically created by JVM for all predefined exceptions. So for all predefined exceptions, it is created automatically, and for all user defined exceptions, it is created manually, and created manually by developer in program for user defined exceptions. So predefined exceptions are automatically created by JVM. User defined exceptions are created by the developer in program. So how to create? It's very simple. We can say something like new arithmetic exception. Okay. So this will create an arithmetic exception and we can throw this exception. So how to throw the exception? Throw keyword followed by new arithmetic exception. And this exception has to be caught by catch block, and in catch block we provide the solution. Now coming to the exception object. So exception object has three properties. First one, exception type, like the type of the exception is arithmetic exception. Next, exception message. So exception message is something like, in arithmetic exception, division by 0 is a exception message. and then exception state. So exception statements, okay, which line number, next, which line number, which class, which method, which class, which program, and which package exception has occurred. So this is called as exception state. So every exception has three properties: exception type, exception message, exception state. Okay, right. So we catch the exception using exception class. Okay, so we accept the exception using catch block with exception class as parameter. So example goes like this. You can say something like catch parameter is arithmetic exception AE. Right. So when we throw new arithmetic exception is caught by arithmetic exception AE, new arithmetic exception. So hence exception object creation is completed. And after that, what happens when we print exception object? Okay, right. So when we print exception object, we get exception type and message. So we get these two things. Example, system dot out dot println AE. So if we print this in the catch block, it will print exception type and message. So this is how we are supposed to work with exception object. So let us try to demonstrate this with exception object example 1. So program to work with exception object class exception object example 1. So save this in our working directory, exception object example 1 dot java. Right. So first we'll generate an exception and check for exception type, message, and state. So we'll take three numbers, int a comma b comma c. Right. So we'll take something like case 1, a is equals to 10, b is equals to 2. Next we'll perform c is equals to a by b, and then we'll say system dot out dot println will print division as something like plus c, and finally we'll print end of the program. Right. So save this program, open the command prompt, go to your working directory, and then java c exception object example1.java. Compile it, no error, and run it. Right. So division is 5, end of the program, no exception, normal execution of program. So now let us take case 2. So let us put a comment for case 1. Go to case 2. In case 2, we'll take a is equals to 10, b is equals to by mistake 0. So when we say a by b, here we'll get exception. So we should get arithmetic exception 10 by 0. Save, recompile, and run. So here we are getting arithmetic exception. So if we see this arithmetic exception, abnormal termination of the program, we did not get end of the program. So exception type. So what is the exception type here? Arithmetic exception. It belongs to java.lang package. 2. Exception message, division by 0. 3. Exception state. So line 17, main method, which class? Exception object example 1 class. Which program? Exception object example 1.java. So here we did not use a package, we did not get the package name. So every exception has three properties: exception type, exception message, exception state. Right. So now we'll say here try block C A by B and then catch. So we'll catch the arithmetic exception AE, and then here we'll say system.out.println AE. So we'll directly print the AE. So here arithmetic exception is a predefined exception. When arithmetic exception occurs in this particular line, it is automatically created and thrown by JVM. No need to use throw keyword. It is accepted by AE and then print AE. So let us see what it is printing. Save and recompile. Run the program. So if you see here, this is normal execution end of the program. So in catch block, it has printed exception type, arithmetic exception, which belongs to java.lang package, and exception message. So every exception object, when it is printed, it will print exception type and exception message. Right. So now let us throw the exception manually. Okay. So what I will do, I will check here. If B is equals to 0, okay, throw new arithmetic exception. Okay, so I'm throwing new arithmetic exception. Okay, so this is how we throw the exception object manually by creating it using new operator and throw keyword. Throw followed by arithmetic exception. Okay, so remaining statements are not executed. Directly it will come to the catch block and print AE. Right. So Java C, compile it and run it. So it has printed only exception type. It did not print the exception message. Then how to print exception message also when we are throwing the exception manually? So it's very simple. If you see here, we have used this statement. So previously we did not pass any parameter to the constructor, so we did not get any exception message when AE is printed in the catch block. Now we'll put a comment for this. Now we'll say throw new arithmetic exception, division by 0 not okay. So for constructor we are passing this string as parameter, so this will become exception message, and that exception message is printed along with exception type when we print AE in catch block, which is object reference variable for your arithmetic exception. Right, compile the program and run it. So division by 0 not okay, exception message, exception type, end of the program. Okay, right. So important note point goes like this. For exception object creation using a constructor, if we pass any string as parameter, then it will become exception message. So the example is the same example here. Throw new arithmetic exception, parameter is division by 0 not okay. So this is how we are supposed to work with exception object in a Java program. Thank you for watching this video. Do like, comment and share this video, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel Sri Sai IT Hub. Have a nice day.